Okay, if not, now we will move on to board matters. I'll pass the gavel to Vice Chairman Penny Gross. Okay, and I will move the larger package, and everyone should have a copy of this. And I also sent something in advance last week, the establishment of an ad hoc police practices review commission. And my voice is a little fragile, so I've got a bit of a bug. So if you could bear with me. Fairfax County is the safest jurisdiction of its size, due in no small part to the hard work and dedication of our public safety personnel. The Fairfax County Police Department, celebrating its 75th anniversary this year, has long served and protected our community, and through a model of community policing, has built and maintained the public trust and confidence. The Board of Supervisors and the Police Department recognize the importance of maintaining that public trust and the importance of always reviewing policies and practices and seeking to improve. To that end, the Board of Supervisors is taking a hard look at the way Fairfax County handles significant police-involved incidents. On January 13th, the Board directed the County Executive to seek independent expertise to assist us in reviewing policies and procedures with respect to information disclosures in the case of serious incidents involving the police department. That work is underway, and I understand we may have a discussion.
Madam Chairman, we will have a memo for you later this afternoon laying out the time frame, cost, and proposal for your consideration.
Okay, excellent. Prior to that, in July of last year, the Chief of Police enlisted the services of the Police Executive Research Forum to review our police department's use of force and critical incident response policies, training, and practices. This work is being led by an oversight board established by the internal auditor in order to ensure objectivity. The results of this review are due this month. Informally, I've had discussions with senior county staff regarding ways Fairfax County can improve our policies and procedures in order to strengthen the public's trust of public safety and Fairfax County government. I have also had conversations with members of the local media to better understand their expectations as to how and when information should be released. I believe these efforts to evaluate our current practices and to effect change can be enhanced through engagement with our community in an open and transparent engagement process. To that end, I'm establishing an ad hoc Police Practices Review Commission. This commission should recommend changes consistent with Virginia law that the commission feels would help Fairfax County to achieve its goal of maintaining a safe community, ensuring a culture of public trust, and making sure our policies provide for the fair and timely resolution of police-involved incidents. The Commission will be tasked with reviewing existing policies, practices, and programs regarding police-community relations, reviewing existing policies, practices, and laws regarding police-involved incidents, including including the history of recent use of force, lethal and non-lethal incidents involving Fairfax County Police Department, and subsequent public release of information. FCPD use of force training policies and the police threat assessment policies, our police internal affairs division policies, reviewing the policies, practices, and laws regarding the public release of information, including relevant provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, the roles of police, public information officers, PIOs, and the Office of Public Affairs, the role and relationship between the police department and the Office of the Commonwealth Attorney. The Commission may solicit presentations from local, regional, state, or national organizations regarding best practices related to use of force and the public release of information by law enforcement bodies. The Commission should seek out models for investigation of serious police-involved incidents that are different from what is currently the practice in Fairfax County. In addition to the organizations represented on the Commission, presentations, information could be sought from the other relevant organizations. In making their recommendations, the Commission should review the results of our board-authorized consultant review of information release policies, as well as the results of the review of the Police Department's policies by the Police Executive Research Forum. However, the Commission should not wait on those results to begin their review of existing Fairfax County policies. I have asked Michael Hirschman, one of our 2 citizen members of the Board's Audit Committee, to chair this commission. I have attached Mike's bio for your information and feel that he is uniquely qualified to chair this effort, and he has agreed. Membership of the committee will be comprised of citizen members, law enforcement and legal experts, media, including some of the media here today, and representatives from academia. I therefore move that the Board of Supervisors directs staff from all relevant departments to support and assist with the work of the Commission. Requests for information approved by the Commission will be made through Mr. Rohr, who will be our county liaison and staff support for this effort. The chairman of the Commission, working with the county staff and my office, is asked to develop a work plan and timeline to facilitate delivery of their recommendations to the Board of Supervisors by October 1.
Okay, that was a motion seconded by Supervisor Highland. Discussion on the motion. Anyone?
And actually, Madam Chairman,
yes.
if I could just also point out, also included in the packet is a list of individuals who have been reached out to and who have agreed to serve. So we have a number of organizations. These are not individuals so much as organizations that are police organizations. And also we will have a representative from the Fairfax County Sheriff's Department. We will have legal representation, the Fairfax Bar Association, also Bob Ross, who is a former deputy county attorney who retired, and his area was police, working with police incidents. From academic and consultant, you can see the folks who we have here, and unfortunately we reached out to George Mason University, but have been unable to get a commitment, someone who's available to be able to serve. So if anyone has a suggestion, I'm open to that. We also have media and PR. Broadcast media representatives will be Jeff Goldberg, also Peggy Fox, and let's see, and others who are invited. Mary Kim from the Connection newspaper. Myrnie Fitzgerald has expressed an interest in working with us on the Commission, and a representative from the Virginia Coalition for Open Government. And then we have a number of citizen representatives, Jeff Stewart, who has been very much engaged in the Gear case, Adrian Steele, who is a resident of McLean, who has an impressive biography and has expressed an interest, Nick Beltrante with the Virginia Citizen Coalition for Police Accountability, and he has asked if he could have an alternate, and I have indicated my willingness to allow that. Tim Thompson, and actually any other organization that asks for an alternate, because this is going to be a lot of work, I'll make sure that that's acceptable to the chairman. Tim Thompson, who's president of the Fairfax County Federation of Citizens Association, Shirley Ginwright, who is both the chairman of the NAACP and also she is the chairman of the Communities of Trust Committee. And then county staff, and they will be ex officio members, supporting roles, Dave Rohr and Tony Castrilli. So this is the lineup so far. And as I said, other organizations will likely be presenters or will participate in sessions. Okay, we have.
All right, there are others
couple
who wish to
questions.
discuss. We'll start, I guess, at this end. Supervisor Smith, Supervisor Harity, Supervisor Faust.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just a question about the representation on the committee. Do we have anyone from our Citizens Advisory Councils for the police?
That is a very good suggestion. I'm glad you
They're
raised that.
very interested and obviously
They are
very involved.
I will. Clayton is sitting right behind me, and he is scribbling down that recommendations, and I will reach out to the. No, he's not.
I wondered if he was actually using paper and pencil.
Okay, that's a
right.
very good suggestion. I will reach out to those folks.
All right. Supervisor Harity?
Yes, I'm real happy to see this this review getting underway, and I'm happy to see the engagement of the community added to the June 13th, your June 13th effort. And I think I really think you picked the right person to lead in Michael Hirschman. He's he's not only a good involved citizen, but he's a professional in this area, which will help, and a lot of the people that you've got on the committee. I got a couple of quick concerns. And one of them is that the board, as the elected leaders of the county, have really yet to address these issues as a board in open session. And we keep talking about the fact we haven't had a public safety committee meeting in 2 years, and on several instances, it's, we've said we're going to schedule one. But I think, the board really needs to provide some leadership here as we move forward. And I guess one of my questions would be how do we propose getting the board involved? The second kind of concern here is I see on page 3 that the commission's tasking, and I think one critical element there that's been left out is the role of the county's attorney's office, because I think that's where we've had some issues, especially with especially when it gets to the public committee role. And if I missed it, please point it
It's
out.
the bottom bullet of the last
That's
bullet.
the Commonwealth.
That's actually
That's
the
the Commonwealth's
that's the
attorney,
Commonwealth's
not the
attorney.
county attorney.
Why don't we include the role and relationship between, we'll amend this, the Fairfax County Police Department,
And the
the
county
county
attorney's
attorney's office, and the office of the Commonwealth's attorney.
And I guess the other is, we want to take the time to get this right, but 8 months does seem like a long time. But if it needs to be 8 months, you've had more time to think about this than I have. But really getting the board involved in where we do that and how we do that, I've got some thoughts and some ideas that I don't have an appointee to here that I can't put them through. But and I thank you for adding Lucy. But we need to. I think there needs to be a way for the board to get involved and engaged in the process
Okay.
as the leaders of the county.
Thank you, Supervisor Harity, and I would say that the chairman has demonstrated extraordinary leadership in this and is leading this effort. And that's partly, and the board is having that opportunity. So if it hadn't been for you bringing it up, I think that we would not be having this good discussion today.
And Madam
yes.
Vice Chairman, Supervisor Highland has asked for, I don't know if you have the date yet.
I'm waiting for a date.
Okay, for a police
Public safety meeting.
or a public safety committee, our board's public safety committee, and let's make sure that we have at least a couple of opportunities through that committee to track the work of the commission and for us to be able to comment and weigh in. These meetings will be open to the public. They're here at the Government Center, will probably be in room 232 or maybe.
Oh, I think you're going to have a larger room, Madam Chairman.
Actually, that was the room that where the meals tax force was held. And Kate liked it to be snug. So we'll see how many we wind up within the end.
I think also the time frame has to be sort of extended because getting this many people's schedules together just for a series of meetings may take a little time at the beginning.
Mike has also suggested that he may want to break the commission into subgroups to dig into some different areas, and that could provide for some more representation. So people who are not on this first list may end up serving on the subgroups or subcommittees.
Then if we have folks, I know I've been contacted by a constituent who has an excellent resume about serving on this, so that there may be opportunities. We should send those through you.
Send those
through the Chairman's office.
to my
Okay.
office, and we will make sure that we have a list of additional folks who may be able to then join via the subgroups.
Okay. Supervisor, were you finished, Supervisor Harity? I think so.
Yes, and thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, Jeff, I didn't see your hand first. Supervisor Faust, and then we'll go back to Supervisor McKay, and then we'll come around.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think this is an excellent move, and I think it's the right thing to do. I do agree that it's not like the board has done nothing up to this point, and there are things that the board can and I think will be doing before October 1st that, it's not like we're going to all sit back and wait until we get a report. I'm confident that there will be actions taken between now and then to address some of these issues. In terms of the content of your board matter, Madam Chair, the relevant provisions of Virginia Freedom of Information Act, I would also add in statutory and case law, because that's kind of what that was that issue throughout this entire process.
Statutory and case law. Thank you. Supervisor McKay.
Thank you. I also want to thank you, Madam Chairman, for bringing this forward. I think this is a good list of folks to be involved. It provides the right balance to have a meaningful conversation. This issue invokes a lot of emotion from both sides, if you will, and that's understandable. And we as a board have to take a balanced approach to handling this that has an opportunity to, kind of separate some of the emotion from some of the facts and some of the policies. And clearly there's an ongoing role for the board, and there'll be a significant role for the board when this commission is finished to evaluate any recommendations that come forward. We are the governing body of the county, and so they are advisory, and they will make recommendations to us, and the most significant role of the board will be in part to decide what to do with those and to continue to engage in some of the issues we've faced over the last 2 years, some of which is significant concerns that we need to address. Some of them are outside our lane, so to speak, and that are not at the control of the Board of Supervisors. But one of the things I think is really important about this is that this is also a learning opportunity for our community. Mm. And when I say our community, I mean everyone in this list, county officials, citizens, advocacy groups, employee groups. One thing that has been clear to me from the beginning is that there's a lot of misunderstanding out there as to what the policies and procedures are, what the requirements placed upon us are with regard to release of public information in particular, and what the relationships are between the county, the Commonwealth's attorney, the police organizations, the internal affairs investigations, the federal review. And so there's a lot of layers here, and even attorneys I talk to are confused. And so I think this is a good opportunity as an education for our community to understand what our current practices are better than what you might just read in the paper, and to be able to make recommendations where they see fit to make possible improvements to those. And I think that's an important civilized conversation for us to have, and it will be our job at the end of this to make determinations based on their advice. So I think this is a really important step in the right direction. Increasingly, I've been concerned about some of the comments and things I've heard out there about faith in our police department. We need to fix that. We also need to fix that for the department's sake. I know our police department prides itself in having good community involvement, community relations, and an important, strong relationship with our community. And they, too, are concerned over the things that are said and the things that are read out there, eroding that trust. And so we need to get ahead of that and restore faith where needed, but also to make sure certainly a majority of our residents have tremendous faith in our public safety agencies, and so this is not an indictment of that, more a review of policies and procedures to see if there are improvements that we can make that will collectively benefit us all. Just to comment on the academic consultant, you raised the George Mason piece. Let us not forget we have vast academic assets in Fairfax County that extend beyond George Mason. Certainly at Northern Virginia Community College is an option, but there are a number of other branch campuses in the region from some of our other academic institutions, and so I think it's important that we have some representation in there, and so I think we can broaden our look to some of those other groups, including NVCC, which may have resources to bear. But again, I think this is very good, a very good chairman. I look forward to following this conversation very closely. It's really important to the trust of our community, and when we have significant challenges, I think it's appropriate for us to take a break and say we want to hear from the community in a civilized, responsible way, and I think this commission really seeks to forward that conversation at the right time, and we will be better at the end of this for having that dialogue.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor McKay. We'll start going back around this way. Supervisor Cook, and then Supervisor Hutchins, and Supervisor Fry and Supervisor Hutchins. Supervisor Cook.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and I want to commend the Chairman for bringing this matter to establish this commission and to put Fairfax County, I think, in a leadership role again to look at what's a very important issue. I had a constituent email me over the weekend. She was visiting family, I believe, halfway across the country. She said she was appalled to see a news report that mentioned Ferguson, Staten Island, and Fairfax County in regards to police issues. And so, this commission and its scope will look far beyond the one case that seems to be, and is at the, focus of our attention. And I hope the press, and there's many people here today, will understand that this commission is about more than one case. It's about looking at an issue that is part of a national discussion, the discussion of the militarization of police techniques that we're seeing in some places in this country. There have been articles written about the use of federal military hardware that is passed down to police departments. In some places in this country, use of armored cars, assault weaponry. Even here in Fairfax County a couple months ago, police used assault weapons to break into a home in Great Falls to break up a poker game. And was that really, is that really the type of force that we want to use all the time? And there are nuances and details in all of these circumstances that need to be studied in some detail, and we can't just broad brush it. And so we need experts and we need community members who can delve into what are complicated issues. And one issue that is not mentioned that I want to bring up, and I'll be offering an amendment, is how we are dealing with people with disabilities and mental illness, mental illness in the community when it comes to police use of force. Many on the board are familiar with the case of Nellie Latson in Stafford County. Mr. Latson is an autistic man who was facing a 10-year jail sentence for what started out as a day that he was sitting on the steps of the library waiting for the library to open. And he was approached by a police officer because he looked like someone who was a suspect. And it was just a tragedy all around. Nobody had bad intent in this incident, but police officer asked him his name, and Mr. Latson, is autistic, did not respond. Police officer then put his hands on him to get a response. That ended up in a physical struggle that left the police officer permanently disabled. And Mr. Latson being arrested, thrown in jail, not getting the medication and treatment that he needed. He deteriorated. And there's no facility in Virginia that can handle an inmate with the autism of the needs that Mr. Latson had. And the closest facility was in Florida. And I know that through a petition that the ARC of Virginia put out, that and I know I sent a letter, Mr. Highland sent a letter, Delegate Hugo, Delegate Rust, Albo, I believe, and others, and we were able to persuade the governor to issue a conditional pardon so that Mr. Latson could get the treatment that he needed. So I want to ask that this subject be added. I'll distribute the wording, but crisis intervention team training, which is training for law enforcement in how to deal with people with mental illness and disabilities, promote safety for the person in crisis, for the law enforcement officer and the community. The purpose of CIT is to educate law enforcement officers to properly assess a person with a serious mental illness, emotional distress, or an intellectual developmental disability, and to provide them with critical information regarding crisis intervention. People facing such crises often react badly to police direction and force, while reacting more positively to tension reduction techniques. CIT training has existed for over 25 years and has successfully been established in many areas of the country. In fact, nationally, scholarly journals are reporting CIT-trained officers are significantly more likely to report verbal engagement or negotiation as the highest level of force used, and they are more likely to refer people in crisis to mental health services rather than arrest them. Therefore, Madam Chairman, I would move that the review of the level of crisis intervention training within the police department and how the quality and curriculum of that training compares with national models be added to the ad hoc commission's scope of work.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That has been, the chairman has indicated that that is a friendly amendment.
I would consider that a friendly amendment, and I appreciate your sharing that with me in advance.
And I appreciate that, Madam Chairman, and I do appreciate your support for this concept, and I think that with this, we will have a commission that can bring us to the forefront of the country and how our police can be engaged with the community. Sometimes force is necessary, no doubt about it. Sometimes it's not. And let's find the answers, and this is a good start. So thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Cook. Supervisor Fry.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I will not be supporting this motion. It's not because I don't think that we need to take the time and review this process, but because I think this is totally the wrong time to do so. The process, while I understand all of the hopes and the optimism and about what this can do, I mean, the fact is that we still have an existing situation underway, and that needs to be resolved. While we can talk about how it's going to be all about these grand things, it isn't. It's going to be about the situation in front of us, and the membership of the committee guarantees that. We forget that a lot of the reasons why some of the information was not released to the public is for the protection of the investigation process, and for two reasons. One is to ensure that if an officer is charged with criminal charges, that he or she can get a fair trial. But the second reason is because we want to ensure that if criminal charges are appropriate, that the Commonwealth Attorney can successfully prosecute. Creating a committee like this with all sorts of inquiries and questions and demanding information, I am not convinced that anyone can get a fair trial or that the Commonwealth Attorney is going to be able to prosecute if that is in fact appropriate. But we don't know if that's going to be appropriate because the process hasn't finished yet. And so, starting the review, to me, it is just the wrong time. We need to finish this process, see it through, and then we can look back and determine where changes can be made. But I will guarantee you the focus is not going to be on process. The focus is going to be on this case. Secondly, we've begun a process where the police chief is reaching out to look at different best practices. The board agreed to hire a consultant to look at various best practices, and now we're going to have a third party look at this. I'm not sure who knows who's doing what, but remember, the people that are going to be asked all of these questions and serving this commission are the same people who are going to be providing or trying to provide answers to the police chief, to the consultant, to the Commonwealth Attorney, and meanwhile are going to still try to be finishing their own work. We have not completed the internal investigation yet. I guess it's almost done, but until we know the outcome of criminal prosecution, I don't think you can fully complete. So we got multiple processes going on at the same time, and it just seems to me this is not a logical, well thought out reaction and response and decision to review the situation. This is a reaction to the latest nasty story in the media, and it's just throw as much as you can at the wall and see what sticks. We should wait until this thing is over, and then it could be it could be properly looked at. I won't mention the other issues. Besides the size of the commission, I think it's unwieldy. I think the addition that we just did is a commission in and of itself. We have expectations for this group that I think far exceed its ability, and certainly the ability to do it within a 6-month time frame in any detail. I think many of the issues are particularly the one that Mr. Cook just brought up are huge issues in and of themselves, and expecting a task force to deal with all of those, as well as our own internal procedures, I think is an expectation that can't be lived up to. And I will, even leave out the question of whether I agree or not with the members that are on the task force. However, not having seen them until the board matter was handed out this morning, it is a little hard for me to respond or to react to it. And so for those reasons, I just think that this is not the time or the way to proceed, and I will not be supporting the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Fry.
And if I could just,
Madam Chairman?
just respond, I respect Supervisor Fry's feelings about this, but it will be made clear to members of the commission that this is not about a particular case, that this is about taking a look at how other jurisdictions, other states handle some of the issues, such as release of information, such as working with the community and the media and the press to release information, and then also to look at the use of force study, which already should be completed very soon. So, yes, it's a big commission, but then the Meals Tax Commission was larger. And
that was really successful. Madam Chairman, I would just say too.
They did some very good work and came, and I think it was a thoughtful effort on their part. And this will be a high-level look, not an in-the-weeds effort to try to focus on a particular case, and that's going to be made very clear.
I appreciate that. However, as was seen with the Meals Tax Commission, we don't control the direction or the reports that these commissions put out. But I would just also add, in terms of timing, I for the life of me couldn't imagine why you would give them an October 1 deadline. I mean, we know what's going on in the fall.
Actually,
this is guaranteed if you have their report October 1 that it's going to be election year fodder.
Actually, Mike, I put October 1 as a deadline, but actually what we're also asking is for the chairman working with our staff in my office to develop a work plan. So it could be shorter, it could be longer, but what I've indicated, I had to put some kind of a deadline there. And that's what I chose.
But you're setting it up already if as an election year issue, and if they come back and don't meet that deadline, that becomes the issue. You should have started right off the bat with at least an end of the year to guarantee that it doesn't come back or that it doesn't become an issue for challengers. I don't have a dog in this fight. But,
All right, then we'll move on.
but you are going to have challengers that are going to want to know, why did you not come back and meet that original deadline? You're going to put it off, and you're going to be accused of putting it off until after the election. The fact that it's out there now has already created the election issue. I would have raised those issues had I seen it before, but again, not having seen it until this morning, we couldn't have that conversation.
Actually,
Thank you.
I sent it out last week.
We are,
I didn't get it.
okay, we are running well behind time.
I would like to speak before you run out of time.
Supervisor Hudgens?
Madam Chairman, I want to say thank you for your effort, but I am not pleased, because I don't think the chairman owns this issue. I think the board owns this issue. And you have made an effort to try and address it. But we've had this conversation for quite a while. And we left the Colosi case with an incomplete action. And at no time did any staff say, let's get back on track and see what we can do to address the board's concerns. And so today we have in front of us something that's already put together, and we're saying that this will be a reflection of what Fairfax County will do. And I thought Fairfax County was the elected representative of the county that sets policy. And I'm just, I understand the reason why it's needed, but I really feel uncomfortable without having had the kind of discussion that we've tried to have here today about how do we assess where we are? How would we want to think of where we would want to go? What do we know about peer information? We are still utterly uninformed about peer activities that work on these commissions, and yet we're saying that we think that we want an ad hoc committee to move forward on it. I have a very strong feeling that we are going to muddy the waters of transparency, and that isn't what I'm here for. I really am looking for a transparent process, and I don't think doing that is through board matters. Board matters have been informational pieces. They have been opportunities to tee up an issue. But this is not small work for us to do. This is important work, because with the conversation that is being had, I think it is the board that needs to clear the mind of the citizens as to where we are. And I don't think I even need to say I support or don't support it, because guess what? It's in place. And that doesn't make me feel good. I just believe that we have worked on lots of issues and been able to come to a conclusion, maybe not unanimously, but a conclusion that can represent policy. But this is not the way that I would like to do it. I think maybe we have a bad email system, because if some reason they said this was on our desk or came through our emails. They might have, but I would like to have been able to say, okay. But I have a concern that when our citizens see this, are they going to accept this as our open process to say we really want to address the concerns of transparency of our public safety system, and be able to give them the confidence that it's really a legitimate one.
Thank you. Supervisor Hudgens, as I recall, the chairman laid this idea out at a previous board meeting, and then was going to flesh it out. I think we did talk about this one before.
We talked about
but there are
a public safety meeting.
Madam Chairman?
There's an awful lot of expert information that we need to have reviewed. I don't feel comfortable, quite frankly, going over a lot of policies that are way beyond my ability to interpret. We need to have the experts come in and give us that sense, and then give us some recommendations.
So are we sitting on this commission?
No.
Well,
But any
my
member of the
question-
board
my
who wants
question-
to attend as well.
I think when I would set forth a commission, I would first want to gather what are all of the concerns of the individual board members to engage in that as it comes back to us, to ensure that the commission has looked at all the things that we have of concern. So that is my viewpoint. It does not have to be a unanimous viewpoint, obviously, but that is my concern, and I want it on the record. That is my
All right,
concern.
thank you. It's on the record. And Supervisor Highland, on that point?
Yeah, on that point, I just wanted to clarify, we did not get a copy, and you may have thought we got a copy.
No, we
but
didn't.
I just checked. I have not seen it in my office. I know a couple of us haven't. I wish we had, and I know that was probably your intent.
February 20th.
February 20th. I'll check in a minute when I'm done talking. But, Supervisor Hudgens' point was basically the point I was raising, is that the board should, at the front end of this, have the ability to as the elected leaders, to give our input on where we're going to go with this and what we're going to look at. And I'll leave it at that. But I will support the motion.
All right. Supervisor Highland, you're going to have the last word.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I do share the concerns expressed by my two colleagues, Supervisor Fry and Supervisor Hudgens. The subject matter of what you're proposing, Madam Chairman, I think are issues that the board needs to concern itself with, and also their policies that you have referenced that we have agreed in executive session need to be looked at, and we obviously haven't looked at them yet. So the subject that you have put on the table that would be considered, those subjects are appropriate. My first reaction, though, in terms of timing, as we have a pending matter, a pending case, and awaiting judicial decision as to whether it will be prosecuted at the local level or at the federal government level, I'm not certain that either the Commonwealth Attorney or the U.S. Attorney would be comfortable with us moving forward with this effort at a time that they have not yet made a prosecutorial decision as to what to do with the case. So, from a timing standpoint, I think Supervisor Fry is correct that the time to do this would be when the case at least is decided to go forward or not, and then there's nothing that this commission would do that would conflict, because the subject that you have laid out for this commission are subjects that obviously are issues in the pending litigation. So before we move forward with even considering this, it may be appropriate to at least have the Commonwealth Attorney's reaction and the U.S. Attorney's reaction as to whether this would pose any conflict with their pending decisions. Second, if this commission is formed and you go forward, and on page, I think it's page 3, I think you've already talked about the fact that the county attorney, the relationship with the county attorney was not referenced in the last bullet, and I think we've added that. The other piece of that, I think, should be, and the issue that we have in the pending case, is the role and relationship among Commonwealth Attorney, County Attorney, and the Police Department, because that really is the issue that we're.
That actually is what
have we added that?
Right. The role and relationship between the Fairfax County Police Department, the Fairfax County Attorney's Office, and the Office of the Commonwealth Attorney.
Okay, so that's been done.
That was added earlier.
The other suggestion, if this moves forward and the commission is established, the National Association of Counties has a magnificent research capability, and the woman is Amelia Estrada, who could get you almost instantly what other jurisdictions are doing around the country concerning these subjects. So I would strongly suggest that they be be used to help this commission.
And actually, I appreciate that. I've already reached out to VACO, that's reached out to NACO,
Okay.
and you're absolutely
Yeah,
right. They
that's
have
already
some
been done.
tremendous resources, and I suspect we will use them in, in some way as presenters or in discussions.
So
Okay.
let me just
Anything else?
close, if I may. I support the concept that you have put on the table, Madam Chairman. I think there will be a time to do this, and I think that time is after the decision has been made as to what to do with the pending criminal case, the Gear case.
And I guess my concern about that is the amount of time that sometimes the Justice Department takes. It could be years, and I don't think that we should not take a look at, at better, different ways of doing things. I don't think that that would interfere with the case. We're talking process. We're talking, not the case, but we're talking process and how we can maybe change our policies or amend our policies to move things along more quickly, which I think we just need to do that.
And if I may, Madam Chair, the only concern I have is that this commission will not do anything that will
Jeopardize.
adversely affect the decision-making for the Commonwealth Attorney or the U.S. Attorney. And if we don't have that comfort level and we have this commission start and they get into, for example, the use of force and policies of the police and so on, all of a sudden, that's evidence.
Madam Chairman, I would suggest that maybe the clerk in their transcription of this discussion create a synopsis that outlines these kinds of issues that you can then give to the commission so that they are aware of the concerns of the board
and give to
give some
our
direction.
staff. That's
Okay. Seeing and hearing no other comments, all those in favor of the motion to establish the Ad hoc Police Practices Review Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
So we have,
do division.
Shall we do division? All right. Division, Supervisor Hudgens?
Nay. Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye, and the motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
right.
You have some other board matters.